One day, Shizuka is busy typing away on her laptop. Akira, an invisible man, takes a seat beside her. He is surprised when Shizuka acknowledges him, even though she is blind. Akira is confused by how easily she can tell where he is. Shizuka explains that she knows he is there because of his scent. Hearing this, Akira immediately starts sniffing himself, worried that he might smell bad. Shizuka panics and quickly explains that she didn't mean it in a negative way. She tells him that because she is blind, her other senses are much sharper than most people's. Akira is relieved, and for some reason the idea that he has his own distinct scent comforts him. Wanting to confirm something, he decides to test her. He turns himself completely invisible and asks Shizuka to try to find him. Shizuka listens closely and is able to pick up the sound of his footsteps. Slowly, she reaches out and grabs a part of his clothes, telling him that he is standing right next to her. Akira makes his clothes visible again, impressed with Shizuka. He tells Shizuka that he believes she is the only person who can find him, and the realization makes his heart race. Seeing her confusion, Akira decides to be more direct and asks her out to dinner. After the workday ends, the two prepare to leave together. Akira asks Shizuka if there is anywhere she would like to go. Shizuka struggles to answer, explaining that she hardly eats out because of her blindness. Instead, she tells Akira that she is fine with any restaurant he chooses. Akira remembers a restaurant, then asks Shizuka to grab his arm so he can lead her. Taking his arm, they walk through the streets. She notices that the way Akira walks feels different from usual. She begins to worry that Akira doesn't actually know where to take her and quickly assumes that she is the reason for his unease. Suddenly, Akira stops and asks if she smells something that seems appetizing. Shizuka takes a careful breath and points in the direction of a nearby restaurant, the same place Akira hopes to take her. He thanks her for helping him decide, and the two enter the restaurant together. Akira orders a large spread, explaining that he simply asked for the recommendations. Both of them smile since the dinner feels like an adventure, as neither of them has eaten there before. Shizuka takes a bite of one of the vegetables and admits that the flavor seems strange. Akira explains that she has eaten coriander. Hearing this, Shizuka giggles to herself and admits that this is also her first time eating out with a co-worker. Shizuka suddenly starts to think that Akira's intentions might be more romantic than friendly. Before she can dwell on it for too long, Akira encourages her to try another dish and places food onto her plate. He notices that she becomes a little stiff, and Shizuka admits that it is actually her first time dining with a man. She muses that this outing feels like a date. Akira immediately confirms that he intends it to be. The confirmation makes Shizuka nervous, and sensing her unease, Akira gently guides her hand to his chest so she can hear his heart pounding. Realizing that she isn't the only one feeling nervous, Shizuka is comforted and loudly announces it, unintentionally drawing the attention of the entire restaurant. After they finish eating, Shizuka's earlier nerves return. She pinches a part of Akira's clothing to keep close. Akira suggests that she should just hold on to him properly. His words make Shizuka panic, and she quickly comes up with several excuses while repeatedly insisting that she isn't opposed to holding him. Though he is invisible, Akira grins to himself, finding her reaction endearing. Shizuka notices the change in his voice and scolds him for teasing her. Akira responds honestly, telling her that he wants Shizuka to always be aware of how he feels. He even admits that he feels like skipping at the moment and playfully invites her to skip with him. This causes Shizuka to blush furiously, and Akira decides not to push her any further. Instead, he gently guides her hand to hold onto his arm properly and escorts her home. Once inside her apartment, Shizuka heads to her room to settle in for the evening. As soon as she lies down on her bed, she squeals in delight, overwhelmed by how well things are going between her and Akira. The next day at the office, Shizuka finds herself constantly thinking about Akira. She can't help but admire him, noting how soothing his voice is and how elegant his movements always sound. Realizing she's getting distracted, she shakes her hands to clear her thoughts, but she's left wondering what Akira thinks of her. Shizuka thinks back to Akira's words from the night before and wonders what they could mean. So she decides to ask him something that has been bothering her. She asks Akira if he wishes to be seen by her. After a moment, Akira answers that he's fine remaining invisible, before turning the question back to her and asking if she would like to see him. Without any hesitation, Shizuka replies that she can tell Akira is a good person, and that is enough for her. Akira is pleased by her answer, while Shizuka feels comforted knowing that he doesn't actually need her to see him physically. The next day, as Shizuka walks toward the detective agency, her cane accidentally gets caught on a bicycle, and she trips. She is quickly caught by Luna, a beast woman who immediately realizes that it is her bike that caused Shizuka to fall. At the office, Shizuka is busy entertaining potential clients over the phone. While moving to retrieve something, she accidentally bumps into Daichi. Daichi calmly tells her to take 5 steps back. Once she reaches the distance, he tells her that she can move forward again and informs her that he has made coffee for her, which he placed beside her computer. Later during work, Shizuka curiously asks Luna and Daichi if there is something strange about her appearance. Luna immediately teases her, suggesting that she might be trying to impress someone. She reassures Shizuka that she looks great and adds that she is always free to talk about romance with her. As Luna continues teasing, Daichi finds their conversation irritating, prompting Luna to grit her teeth at him. At that moment, Akira enters the office. He approaches Shizuka and politely asks if it is okay for him to touch her hair. The request surprises Shizuka, briefly reminding her of how her parents used to pat her head. Just as Akira starts to withdraw his request, Shizuka nervously gives him permission. She is surprised when all he does is remove a cherry blossom caught in her hair. Watching the interaction, Luna immediately begins to piece together who Shizuka might be interested in. Shizuka senses the realization forming in Luna's mind and quickly insists that Akira needs to prepare for his consultations. The office opens for consultations, welcoming people who want various matters investigated. Among them is a group of aliens searching for their missing daughter. The problem quickly becomes apparent when all of the aliens look exactly the same, and even the photo of their missing daughter makes it difficult to tell any of them apart. After the aliens leave the office, the team discusses how to approach the case. Daichi, clearly bored, suggests that they simply need to look for someone who looks identical to the aliens. Later in the day, Akira begins his investigation for the first case. Akira keeps his distance as he observes the man. At one point, he nearly gives himself away by accidentally bumping into someone. When his subject turns toward the sound, Akira quickly makes himself completely invisible. Once the man resumes walking, Akira notes how convenient his invisibility is for detective work. However, a young boy suddenly crashes into him. Akira quickly replaces the boy's ice cream cone, acknowledging that invisibility has its downsides. Meanwhile, back at the office, Shizuka listens to something on her phone. Luna notices her smiling to herself and asks what she is listening to. Shizuka explains that she is listening to an audiobook. Curious, Luna listens alone for a moment. Shizuka excitedly explains the romantic buildup between the characters. Luna admits that Shizuka is impressive since she is having trouble keeping up with the plot. Shizuka responds that she has been a keen listener. Shizuka is surprised that a beast person like Luna does not rely much on her enhanced senses. Luna admits that using her senses is not her strong point, even recalling that she sometimes cannot tell when Akira is in the room. Still, Luna confidently claims that she would be able to use her senses properly if she focused, proudly stating that she could take anyone down. Shizuka then asks if she can borrow Luna's eyes, explaining that she cannot read the price on a receipt she needs to file. Luna reads the price easily and casually admits that she made the expense herself after seeing a store selling tasty snacks while guarding a client. Shizuka politely asks Luna to avoid spending company funds on snacks. Luna assumes this is because the snacks she bought cannot be eaten by humans. As Shizuka tries to clarify, Luna suddenly realizes she needs to leave and hurriedly exits the office. Shizuka checks the time and notices that it is already late and Akira still has not returned. A little later, Shizuka notices that Akira has returned and greets him, but the others insist that he's not there. Daichi suddenly notices blood on the floor and immediately assumes that it belongs to Shizuka. This causes Luna to panic and inspect Shizuka. Once everyone calms down, Shizuka enters the meeting room carrying a first aid kit. She hesitantly asks if Akira needs it. Akira then makes his clothes visible, revealing bloodstains on the fabric around his arm. He explains that he was injured while reporting the infidelity case. Akira shares that he met the couple at a restaurant where he showed them photos of the husband going out with another woman. The wife became furious and the couple soon began shouting at each other. Akira tried to calm them down, but the wife swiped at him, leaving deep scratches on his arm. He explains that seeing him bleed shocked the couple enough to stop the argument. Even Akira finds it strange that his blood becomes visible the moment it leaves his body. Shizuka immediately asks how bad his injury is. Akira admits that it is difficult to tell since he himself is invisible. Hearing this, Shizuka begins to tremble at the thought that Akira could die from blood loss. Akira quickly reassures her, telling her that the bleeding is not that severe. Akira allows her to hold the gauze in place while he tapes it down himself. As they tend to the wound, Akira comments on how strange it feels to have Shizuka worry about him. He describes the sensation as feeling pleasant and ticklish. Shizuka takes his words literally and assumes that she must be pressing the gauze incorrectly. Akira explains that he is naturally ticklish, but quickly stops her when she shows interest in trying to tickle him on purpose. When they leave the meeting room, they realize that everyone else has already gone home. Akira mentions that he plans to work overtime, which immediately makes Shizuka worry. She suggests staying as well so she can place orders for supplies the office needs. That way, they can take a break together once she finishes. Suddenly, Akira suggests that they take a break right away. He prepares and serves Shizuka a new blend of tea. When Shizuka tells him how much she enjoys it, Akira sits beside her, clearly pleased that she likes what he made. As Shizuka slowly sips her tea, she begins to wonder if her dinner with Akira was just a one-time thing. The thought makes her feel sad, but she soon realizes that she could also be the one to ask him out. At first, she thinks it is a bad idea, but she quickly convinces herself that she needs to be brave. Just as Akira is about to ask her something, Shizuka suddenly blurts out an invitation to dinner. Akira chuckles softly and tells her that after dinner, they should make a reservation for another date, since he wants to take her out for tea next time. Shizuka hurriedly agrees, and Akira reminds her that they still need to decide on a date first. On their date, Akira takes Shizuka to a specialty tea shop. Once they settle into their seats, they are presented with a wide variety of tea leaves. Shizuka asks what kind of tea Akira likes. He answers that he usually chooses teas based on their effects. Shizuka tells him that she really liked the tea he brewed for her. Before Akira can respond, Karma suddenly chimes in that he was actually the one who made that blend. Karma immediately explains how Akira came into the shop looking for tea that would make his girlfriend happy. Assuming that Shizuka is the girlfriend in question, Karma starts bombarding them with questions. Akira quickly explains that they are not dating yet. Hearing this, Karma suddenly blushes and continues asking even more personal questions, but Light promptly drags him away. Akira apologizes for what just happened. Shizuka brushes it off and instead asks Akira to make a tea blend for her while she prepares one for him as well. A little while later, Light collects their chosen tea leaves to brew them. As they wait, Shizuka asks if Akira chose this tea shop for her sake. She immediately realizes that the question sounds self-centered and quickly apologizes. Shizuka admits that she has a habit of trying to read people's motives. Akira reassures her, saying that it is actually a good trait for a detective's assistant. The praise makes Shizuka nervous and she begins to stammer about how her blindness limits what she can do. She says that she cannot tell what people look like unless she is able to touch them. This prompts Akira to offer one of his hands to her. She notices that his fingers are thin and that his nails are neatly trimmed. Akira admits that he has trouble cutting them because he is invisible. Shizuka brightens at his comment and shares that she has the same struggle. Akira gently holds Shizuka's hand in his and compliments how nice her nails are. Light soon returns with their tea, and both of them are immediately delighted by its aroma. Another day at the detective agency, Shizuka asks Luna to describe how Akira usually dresses. Luna struggles to explain and eventually settles on saying that he wears suits that look like something an English gentleman would wear. Shizuka imagines it to be very cool, and Luna agrees, adding that it's the kind of outfit a spy would wear. Daichi quickly corrects her, saying that spies only dress like that in movies. Shizuka admits that she plans to buy clothes for herself soon and thought that knowing how Akira dresses might help. Luna asks if Shizuka is trying to copy Akira's style. Daichi bluntly states that it's obviously for Shizuka's date with Akira. Luna gets defensive and starts strangling him. Shizuka shyly admits that it is for a date with Akira. Luna instantly brightens and Shizuka grows even shyer. Shizuka explains that she wants to wear something special for the date to mark the occasion. Luna hugs Shizuka and promises to go shopping with her. Daichi reminds Luna to actually think about Shizuka when choosing clothes. Later, at a clothing store, Shizuka tries on several outfits. Luna finds all of them attractive and excitedly urges her to try more. Shizuka asks Luna to slow down, explaining that she wants time to figure out how the piece she's holding looks. Using her phone, Shizuka scans the clothes, and it tells her that the piece is light blue. Luna notices the troubled look on Shizuka's face and offers to describe it to her instead. The two take a seat and Luna begins describing the sweater. Luna suddenly apologizes for being inconsiderate towards Shizuka earlier. The apology catches Shizuka off guard as she wonders if what Daichi said earlier is still bothering Luna. Luna admits that she has recently started noticing how inconsiderate she can be. She brings up how she parked her bike on the wrong side of the road, which caused Shizuka to fall. Hearing this, Shizuka asks if Luna might have eaten something off the ground. Luna freezes for a moment before realizing that Shizuka is deliberately making light of the situation to make her feel better. Feeling relieved, Luna tells Shizuka that she will treat her to some food later. Back at the office, Akira tries to ask Daichi for restaurant recommendations. Daichi shows little interest in holding a conversation with him. Eventually, Akira returns to his work. When he opens his laptop, he notices a message from Daichi. Opening it, Akira finds several links to different restaurants. Akira peeks out of his office and mentions that he's grinning. Later, at the detective agency, Karma and Light arrive for a consultation. The two properly introduce themselves as a married pair of elves before moving into the consultation room. There, they explain that they have been dealing with strange, white-hooded figures recently. Light elaborates, saying that their stalkers often park their car in front of their shop and have bothered people on the street. She also mentions that the stalkers are taking photos of them. Karma blushes at the idea of having stalkers, but Light looks troubled as she adds that the stalkers are following them. Karma quickly interrupts, insisting that their stalkers did not follow them to the agency. Akira reassures the couple that they will deal with the situation as soon as possible. After some time, Daichi manages to track down the stalker's car using a tracking beacon Luna had attached to it. The signal reveals that the vehicle is located inside the grounds of a pharmaceutical company called White. Luna has also taken several photos, which Daichi pulls up for Akira to examine. They notice that while the stalkers are always wearing the same outfits, the people are never the same. The agency quickly realizes that this is no longer a simple stalking case. Suddenly, Luna calls the office in a panic, urgently informing them that two suspicious cars have just parked in front of the tea shop. She has already managed to get Karma and Light out through the shop's back exit. Daichi and Akira decide to head out immediately to support Luna during their escape, leaving Shizuka behind. After some time, the agency receives a visitor. Shizuka goes to greet him, unaware that he is one of the white-hooded figures, a man named Twin. Just as Twin is about to approach her, Akira suddenly restrains him. Twin removes his hood and reveals that he is an elf and Light's father. Once things calm down, Twin explains the situation. Akira realizes that Twin's real intention was simply to check on Light, who had eloped with Karma. Light angrily scolds her father for stalking them and involving the entire clan. Twin attempts to explain that everyone was worried and that they tried to resolve the misunderstanding. Karma takes the opportunity to tease Twin, which only irritates him further. The two openly begin insulting each other. Watching the exchange, the members of the detective agency quietly wonder if the case is closed. Later that evening, the team gathers at the office to celebrate the day's work with food and drinks. Daichi dryly remarks that he would have preferred to go straight home. Luna immediately criticizes his poor personality, commenting that he won't get many girls. Maintaining his bored tone, Daichi responds that he already has a partner waiting for him at home. This revelation surprises everyone, since Daichi is the last person they expect to be in a relationship. Luna notices that Shizuka is not drinking any alcohol and insists that Shizuka drink whatever she wants, promising that she will be the one to take her home afterward. Trusting Luna, Shizuka decides to drink a little after all. However, once the party ends, Luna ends up passed out drunk on the couch. Shizuka begins to worry, but Akira approaches her and explains that he has already booked a taxi for her and that he will go to make sure she arrives safely. Inside the taxi, Shizuka starts to panic as she thinks about what to do once they arrive. She briefly wonders if she should invite Akira inside. Her thoughts are interrupted when Akira suddenly invites her out to eat again soon. He explains that it is a dark restaurant where diners eat in complete darkness. Akira shares that he hopes the experience will help him better understand Shizuka's world. Touched by his thoughtfulness, Shizuka agrees to go. They eventually arrive at her apartment and Shizuka thanks Akira for seeing her home. As Akira turns to leave, Shizuka suddenly invites him in for tea. Akira declines, explaining that he left the taxi running downstairs, but reassures her that next time he would gladly stay for a drink. After he leaves, Shizuka makes a mental note to have someone check how her room looks. On the day of their date, the two meet at the venue. Akira immediately notices that Shizuka is dressed more elegantly than usual. Sensing her nervousness, he tries to ease the tension by telling her that she will be his escort for the evening. Once they take their seats, Shizuka asks if it is truly as dark inside. Akira replies that there is actually a small candle on the table, allowing him to see. Soon after, an owlfolk announces that the diners will experience true darkness and all the candles are extinguished. Shizuka asks again if it is really dark this time, and Akira confirms that the room is now completely black. Shizuka smiles widely and eagerly welcomes Akira into her world. Shizuka gently tells him to feel around the table so he can understand where everything is. When the first dish is served, Shizuka easily takes a bite and enjoys the flavor. She asks Akira how he is enjoying his food, but he excuses himself, claiming that he needs to use the restroom. As soon as he reaches it, Akira lets out a shaky breath, confused by his own reaction to the darkness. After washing his face, he heads back out, only to find Shizuka waiting for him in a lit area. Shizuka gently suggests that they leave for the evening. Akira gratefully accepts her offer. As they walk out, he apologizes for wasting the night, but Shizuka quickly reassures him that it is fine. She proudly shows him a plastic bag, revealing that she asked the staff to pack the rest of their food to go. While walking, Akira asks if they can eat the meal at his place instead. Shizuka agrees without thinking much of it, but suddenly becomes nervous. By the time they arrive at his apartment, Shizuka is so anxious that she can only respond with single-word answers as Akira serves the food. Once they settle, Akira apologizes again and admits that he is afraid of the dark. He explains that his fear began back in elementary school, during a test of courage he had to take with his classmates. He lost sight of the partner who was holding the light. With the moon hidden behind clouds, he could no longer see anything. He tripped and got hurt, deciding to stay where he was and wait for someone to find him. But no one came looking for him. Eventually, he tried to make his way back to the lodge. Though he managed to return, he was deeply hurt by the fact that neither his classmates nor the teachers had even noticed he was missing. Akira admits that he never realized he was afraid of the dark until their dinner, since the city is always brightly lit. Hearing this, Shizuka suddenly surprises him by declaring that she will always notice him. She explains that through his voice and his actions, she can always tell when he feels uneasy. Shizuka promises that she will always find him in the darkness, adding that she would feel lonely without him. Overwhelmed by emotion, Akira asks if they can start dating. The question earns him a small squeak from Shizuka. She hurriedly reassures him that she is not against dating, but admits that she is worried about what might happen after dinner. Understanding her concern, Akira reassures her that he has no intention of going too far tonight. Seeing how overwhelmed she is, Akira gently holds her by the waist, causing Shizuka to squeak again. He holds her close and tells her that he loves her. Shizuka remains frozen in place, still trying to process everything. At the office, Shizuka welcomes Akira back. She resumes her usual duties, but finds herself unable to concentrate, her thoughts drifting toward wanting more romantic moments with him. It has only been a week since they started dating, yet Shizuka already feels embarrassed whenever she thinks about it. Although they agree to keep their private lives separate from work, she is having a hard time doing so. Feeling that Akira works flawlessly as always, Shizuka decides to work diligently as well, hoping to keep herself from thinking about him. However, when Akira approaches her, she accidentally greets him in an overly casual tone. Akira apologizes, explaining that he wants to set aside their promise for now. As Shizuka struggles to process his words, she is suddenly pulled into his embrace. She melts into him, flustered, realizing that Akira has completely undone her attempts to steal her heart. When they pull away, Shizuka pouts and starts tickling him, insisting that he deserves punishment for breaking their promise. Outside, Daichi overhears them and wonders whether or not he should step into the office. After work, Akira offers to take Shizuka home. She agrees, realizing that this is the perfect opportunity to invite him into her home. Just before Akira calls for a taxi, Shizuka suggests that they walk instead. At the train station, Shizuka lightly bounces in place, giddy at the thought of inviting Akira over. She is just about to ask him when Akira cuts her off, telling her that the train is arriving. Inside the train, they stand very close to each other. Shizuka's face reddens as she thinks about sharing a cup of tea with Akira. She had made sure everything was perfectly clean by enlisting her mother's help 3 days earlier. Her feelings are written clearly on her face, prompting Akira to pull her into a gentle hug. He quietly asks if she is going to try inviting him over again. Shizuka stutters that she will make him tea. By the time they arrive at her home, she manages to calm herself down. As she lets him inside, Akira offers to help brew the tea, but Shizuka refuses, wanting to serve him properly as her guest. Akira watches as she prepares everything. While doing so, Shizuka admits that she recently cleaned up, but also confesses that she tends to accidentally drop things. Just as Shizuka tells him this, Akira notices a piece of clothing on the floor and immediately panics at the sight. He shakily takes his seat, deciding it is better to pretend he did not notice it at all. Shizuka finishes preparing his cup of tea and walks over to serve him. As Akira accepts the cup from her, Shizuka's foot lightly brushes against the cloth on the floor. Akira freezes, wondering what the best course of action is. He does not want to embarrass Shizuka, but leaving it there where someone else might notice later feels even worse. Shizuka finally senses something unusual beneath her foot and picks it up. Feeling it with her hands, she slowly realizes what it is. Akira quickly cuts in, suggesting that it looks like a handkerchief. Shizuka immediately agrees with him. Once the awkward moment passes, they settle down and eat muffins together. Akira carefully turns the food invisible inside his mouth before chewing. He explains to Shizuka that he usually does this so others do not have to see him chew. Shizuka does not judge him for it. From her perspective, if he chewed while the food was visible, it would look as though he were chewing with his mouth open. When Akira admits that he envies people who can eat quickly, Shizuka tells him to eat however he likes. She reassures him that she would not be able to see him chewing anyway. Almost immediately, Shizuka realizes she probably should have said something more romantic. Even so, Akira attempts to eat faster, though he feels awkward doing so. When it is time for Akira to leave, Shizuka feels relieved that he believed the clothing on the floor was only a handkerchief. She is pulled out of her thoughts when Akira suddenly suggests that they start calling each other by their first names. Shizuka blushes at the idea as Akira softly calls her name. He remarks that she looks adorable and admits that he has been thinking about kissing her, which earns him an immediate squeak. Akira then explains that normal couples usually rely on visual cues to know when it is okay to kiss, something that is difficult for them. Shizuka begins to wonder if there might be a way for them to create their own cue. The fact that she is thinking about it makes Akira ask if it is okay to kiss her. Without waiting for her response, he lightly taps her forehead to mimic a kiss. Shizuka can tell it's a tap. One day at the office, the entire team is present and Akira bustles around sounding more energetic than usual. Shizuka is the first to notice and wonders if something good has happened. Akira brightens when she points it out and proudly explains that he bought a new suit and is wearing it today. He puffs out his front slightly to show it off and asks the others if it looks good on him. Luna bluntly states that since he is invisible, it is hard to tell. Akira fumbles a little at her comment and Shizuka hears the hurt in his voice. She wants to say something kind to cheer him up, but realizes she cannot, since she cannot even see the clothes herself. Daichi suddenly speaks up, telling Akira that he thinks the suit matches his vibe really well. Luna then adds that it does seem to fit him nicely. Hearing this, Akira immediately becomes enthusiastic again. Shizuka listens to the conversation from a distance, feeling slightly left out because she cannot take part in it. Noticing this, Akira approaches her and tells her that his suit feels nice. He gently guides her hands so she can feel the fabric for herself. With the same excitement, Akira continues talking about the suit to her, making Shizuka giggle as his enthusiasm reminds her of a child. Through this, she learns that Akira is actually fond of clothes, since they are the only way he can make himself seeable to others. Luna then asks how invisible people are able to turn even their clothes invisible. Akira explains that they release a substance that allows their clothes to turn invisible along with them. Shizuka asks if her hands would disappear if they held hands. Akira suddenly takes her hand, catching her off guard, and explains that it would not, since his ability only works on non-living things. Luna comments that being invisible must come with many benefits, but Akira replies that there are many rules placed on them, and they are not allowed to be fully invisible in public. However, he has a special license to do so because of his job. He then begins to enumerate the problems that come with being completely invisible. One day, Light welcomes Shizuka into the tea shop. This time, Shizuka brings her mother along. Shizuka's mother expresses her excitement about making her own blend. Light wonders to herself if Shizuka has told her mother about her relationship with Akira. On one of her visits to the office, Shizuka shyly admitted that she was dating Akira, and her bashful expression even had karma falling for her. Given how shy Shizuka is, Light assumes that she probably has not told her mother, so she decides to stay quiet. However, the moment Karma sees Shizuka, he immediately asks if Shizuka and Akira are already married. Light tries to quiet him down, but Shizuka's mother chuckles at the idea of Shizuka getting married. They soon begin an easy conversation about Akira, and Light starts to wonder if she was wrong in assuming Shizuka had not told her mother anything. However, Shizuka's mother actually has no idea that Shizuka has a boyfriend and casually asks to meet him someday. At the office, Shizuka and Akira struggle to use each other's last names. Daichi and Luna notice this and begin grumbling among themselves about how obvious their relationship is, insisting that they should just call each other by their first names in the office. Luna complains to Daichi that Shizuka has been dodging her questions, but the way she acts around Akira makes everything obvious. Daichi realizes that Luna is right and he grows annoyed as well. He calls out to Akira and Shizuka and bluntly tells them that they are being obvious and should just go ahead and call each other by their names. Luna immediately starts shaking Daichi for his lack of tact. Shizuka and Akira freeze in place, unsure how to respond to the situation. Before things can escalate further, they receive a visit from Kosuke, who has a case for Akira. They head into the meeting room, where Kosuke explains that he needs help with a case he is currently handling. He promises to return another time with his client so Akira can hear the details directly from them. Before Kosuke leaves, he makes sure to compliment Akira's suit, especially its color. Akira is pleased to learn that Kosuke shares his enthusiasm for clothing, but acknowledges how restrictive lawyers are when it comes to suit styles and colors. Akira suggests that Kosuke buy a suit with square pockets to change up his usual style. This makes Kosuke giddy as he begins considering the idea. Akira watches him smile, thinking about how cheerful a person Kosuke naturally is. Kosuke bids farewell to the rest of the team, informing them that he left some snacks with Akira. He apologizes for not getting the animal snacks for Luna, but promises to bring some next time. Daichi firmly tells him not to, then reminds him to take care on his way home. Kosuke smiles and thanks Akira for always taking care of them. When Akira thanks him as well and mentions that Kosuke's firm is a valued partner, Kosuke gives him a strange smile. Later, during dinner, Kosuke complains that Daichi has not told the agency that they are dating. While Daichi does not see the point, Kosuke argues that the agency needs to know who to contact in case Daichi ever gets hurt. Seeing that Kosuke will not stop pestering him, Daichi promises to reveal him as his partner when Kosuke visits the office next week. Just as promised, Daichi bluntly tells the agency that Kosuke is his partner. Kosuke smiles brightly and hands Luna a bag of snacks. When Luna asks about their relationship, Kosuke begins sharing a story about a certain trip in the mountains, but Daichi cuts him off before he can say too much. One day, Shizuka is unable to go to work due to a fever and a cold. Akira calls her and offers to drop by. At first, she is hesitant, but then she quietly admits that she would actually like Akira to visit her. After ending the call, Shizuka blushes at how spoiled she sounds. She then remembers that her mother is around doing housework. She calls out for her. When she does not get a response, she wonders if her mother has already gone home. She does not realize that her mother is actually out on the balcony. Just then, Akira arrives at the door and Shizuka goes to welcome him. When he enters, he reassures her that he cannot catch a cold and that he has come to make her a warm meal. He immediately gets to work, and before long he is in her room, serving her a steaming bowl of porridge. Shizuka admits that she cannot smell it, which is understandable given her clogged nose. When Akira offers her the spoon, Shizuka shyly asks if he can feed her instead. She immediately tries to take it back, realizing how embarrassing the request is, but Akira indulges her and even offers to blow on the food. She quickly insists that he does not have to, but the sound she makes alerts her mother. As Akira feeds her, he notices a bit of fruit on her chin. He kneels on the bed so he can reach her more easily and gently wipes it away. At that moment, Shizuka's mother walks in. She apologizes for interrupting and introduces herself as Shizuka's mother. Shizuka's face turns bright red as her mother awkwardly explains that she was trying to stay out of the way so she would not disturb them, and says she will leave them alone so they are free to do whatever they want. As agreed, Kosuke brings his client for a case he wants Akira's help with. The agency is shocked when his client, Aya, walks in because she is invisible like Akira. Luna makes a crude remark which causes Akira to apologize, but Aya just laughs it off. She is simply too happy to meet another one of her species in the city. Akira responds kindly, and Shizuka notices that his voice sounds happier than usual. As Akira entertains the client, Luna takes the opportunity to tease Shizuka, pointing out how obvious it is that she suddenly becomes self-conscious. Daichi tries to ease her worries by reasoning that Akira's reaction is normal, since his species is quite rare. However, it does not comfort her at all, as she points out how eager Akira seemed to meet her. In the meeting room, Aya explains that she has been accused of theft at work. A box filled with money went missing in the office, and since the security camera footage shows no one, she was immediately accused because she is invisible. Unfortunately, she cannot explain herself to the company president because he is currently hospitalized. The vice president, who is acting as their head boss, is very insistent that she is the one who stole the money. Kosuke brings up that it is difficult to prove Aya's alibi because she was somewhere else at the time the crime took place. However, since invisible people cannot be identified on camera, her alibi will be rejected. After hearing her story, Akira assures Aya that they will handle the case. The rest of the team listens in from outside the door, and Shizuka cannot help but feel bad for Aya. After a while, Kosuke and Akira visit Aya's company and meet the vice president, Gamaiki. He visibly sweats while speaking to them, clearly not having anticipated that Aya would hire both a lawyer and a detective. Akira politely asks Gamaiki for the CCTV footage of the crime scene. Gamaiki provides it, but begins sweating even more. Akira notes that there is no interaction visible during the time when the safe is opened and checked the following day. Gamaiki quickly interjects, stating that he suspects Aya because she can turn both herself and her clothes completely invisible. He suddenly notices that Akira has disappeared. Gamaiki's handkerchief lifts into the air and begins patting away his sweat, while Akira's voice can be heard as he straightens Gamaiki's tie. Akira reappears and explains that he was simply demonstrating how full invisibility works. Invisible people are still tangible, and the things they interact with will still move. He refers back to the safe and points out that it has not moved at all, making it impossible for Aya to be the culprit. Gamaiki continues to sweat profusely as he apologizes for the misunderstanding, explaining that he panicked when the money went missing. Kosuke then brings out his laptop and shows Gamaiki another video, one that was taken shortly after Gamaiki took over for the president. The footage shows him hurriedly depositing bills into an ATM. Kosuke shares his conclusion, stating that Gamaiki took the money himself and deposited it, so it would not be traced back to him. With an invisible employee in the office, he then placed the blame on Aya. Gamaiki pales when he is exposed and panics even more when he finally notices that the company president has arrived during their discussion. Gamaiki struggles to explain himself as the president scolds him and forces the truth out of him. Sometime later, Aya visits the agency to express her gratitude. Akira and Kosuke bow politely and accept her thanks. After she leaves, they turn to the rest of the team and thank them for carrying out a swift investigation before the accusations against their client escalate further. Luna and Daichi credit Shizuka for how quickly the case was handled, pointing out that she is the one who schedules everything. Shizuka panics at the sudden attention and apologizes for rushing the case without permission. She does not admit that she did so because she sensed how important the case was to Akira, especially from the anger in his voice when he first heard the story. Akira surprises her by thanking her and bowing in return. He then suggests that they take a company trip as a reward for all the good work they have done. Luna immediately latches onto the idea, proposing that they go camping in the mountains. Even Kosuke seems eager to join despite Daichi's protests. Akira quickly agrees to the suggestions, and Shizuka smiles as she notices that the tone of his voice has returned to normal. On the day of the trip, Luna and Shizuka rejoice at being surrounded by nature while the men are busy setting up camp. Akira asks aloud why Shizuka is wearing sunglasses, and she explains that they protect her eyes from stray branches. Kosuke assigns Shizuka the task of grinding coffee beans so she can help out a little. Seeing Luna's struggles, Kosuke gives her a job by asking her to prepare the firewood. Akira notices that Kosuke is surprisingly skilled at camping and seems to genuinely enjoy it. Kosuke credits his fondness for camping to Daichi. As the group settles into the campsite, Akira invites Shizuka to take a walk around the area. She eagerly agrees, and soon they find themselves walking along a fenced path near the campsite. Shizuka enjoys the sounds of nature and the freshness of the air while Akira carefully guides her, making sure she does not get hurt on unfamiliar terrain. Shizuka remarks that she feels very safe with him, and Akira admits that he feels the same way. His words remind Shizuka of Akira's traumatic experience in the mountains, so she cautiously asks if being there is really okay for him. Akira admits that he felt some hesitation at first, but being with Shizuka makes him forget about it for the most part, and he feels safe beside her. He then spots a bench up ahead and suggests they take a short break. As they sit down, Shizuka confesses that she sometimes feels useless to him. Akira immediately reassures her, telling her that she's been a great help, especially during their most recent case. Shizuka explains that she rushed the investigation because it was unsettling to hear Akira sound genuinely angry. It made her imagine how devastated she would feel if Akira were ever accused of something similar. Realizing how emotional she sounds, she apologizes. Instead of dismissing her feelings, Akira leans closer and explains that historically, invisible people are often treated as prime suspects in many cases. Because of that, he is deeply grateful that Shizuka and the others acted quickly to clear Aya's name. He gently pulls Shizuka closer, causing her to stiffen in surprise. Akira chuckles softly at her reaction, earning him a mild scolding from her. With a fond smile, he lifts the sunglasses from her eyes and draws her in until their lips meet. Shizuka feels the gentle pressure against her lips and blurts out a question. Akira cheerfully confirms that he has just kissed her, earning a squeak from Shizuka as her face burns an even deeper shade of red. When Akira suggests they head back, Shizuka lightly tugs on his shirt and asks if they can spend a little more time together. Akira sits back down and pulls Shizuka closer once again. Later in the evening, Daichi and Akira sit by the campfire while Kosuke takes the opportunity to talk with the girls. He shares that he used to hate the mountains and gradually begins telling his story. He explains that he used to be overweight, which made it difficult for him to keep up with his classmates during a mountain climb. Feeling guilty, he insisted that his friends go on ahead since they were all heading in the same direction anyway. His friends continued forward while he kept moving uphill at his own slow pace. Soon, more and more students from his grade began passing him until he became dead last on the trail. As he looked up, he noticed Daichi walking only a short distance ahead. A wave of relief washed over him, knowing that he was not completely alone and that Daichi was someone he recognized from class. Kosuke continued following Daichi up the mountain, but eventually became too tired and decided to rest. While catching his breath, he noticed that Daichi had come back for him and was offering him a bottle of water. When Kosuke took it, Daichi picked up his backpack and started walking again. Kosuke tried to tell him that he could carry it himself, but Daichi only told him to hurry up. Eventually, the two of them reached the checkpoint where their grade was having lunch, both of them completely exhausted. As Daichi ate, Kosuke attempted to talk to him, but Daichi looked confused by his approach since they were not friends. Kosuke was baffled when Daichi explained that helping him felt like giving up his seat for an elderly person rather than something done out of friendship. Even so, Kosuke insisted that they eat together since it felt awkward to eat alone. When he sat beside Daichi, he quietly observed him. They had never spoken much in class, and Daichi was known for keeping to himself, which explains why he was still single despite being handsome. When he offered some of his lunch, Daichi didn't hesitate to ask for his chicken. When it was time to head home, they sat next to each other on the bus. Kosuke dozed off easily, and when he woke up, he saw Daichi sleeping as well, with his hand under Daichi's. He intended to slip his hand away, but instead decided to try holding Daichi's hand to see what it felt like. When he looked at Daichi, he noticed that he was red and looking at him. Daichi turned away, making Kosuke realize that he was not sleeping in the first place. Daichi also grasped his hand slightly, confusing Kosuke about the meaning of his actions. Kosuke concludes the story by saying that they somehow ended up dating afterward, as the girls gush over how adorable the story is. The next day, the group decides to swim and catch some fish by the river. Daichi comments on how Luna's swimsuit fits her, and Luna decides to insult his stomach in return. Meanwhile, Akira waits for Shizuka to finish changing. She apparently has trouble with her swimsuit, and since Luna is already by the river, she decides to ask Akira to help her. When Akira enters, he is stunned as he takes in Shizuka in her swimwear. After snapping out of his daze, he notices that one of the straps is caught under the frills of the clothing, so he helps her fix it. Once the swimwear is fixed, he admits that he finds Shizuka very adorable in it, and insists that she wear the skirt that came with the set. When they arrive at the riverbank, Luna immediately gushes over how precious Shizuka looks. Shizuka and Akira enjoy the water by the edge, while everyone else tries to catch fish. Using her bare hands, Luna manages to swipe fish onto the shore. Luna convinces Akira to try as well, while she entertains Shizuka by the shore. After several failed attempts, Akira decides to give up. Luna comments on how muscular Akira is, noticing how his clothes cling to his body after getting drenched. Shizuka blushes at this and tells Akira to take off his shirt so he will be more comfortable. Akira gets embarrassed and tries to explain why he cannot, but neither of the girls seems to understand how embarrassing it is for invisible people. Soon, Daichi tells Luna to help them catch more fish so they can cook them later. Akira decides to rest with Shizuka, and Shizuka shares that she does not like it when people uncover things about Akira. Akira realizes that Shizuka is a little jealous and gently caresses her ear to comfort her, but Luna interrupts them, telling them to be romantic somewhere else instead in front of everyone. On the trip home, Daichi drives while Kosuke fondly shares how much he loves him. He looks back and notices that everyone else is asleep. However, Akira admits that he is actually awake. Akira turns his gaze to Shizuka and shares that someday he wants to go on a trip with just her, though he understands that their relationship is still too new for that. One day at the office, Shizuka cannot help but smile to herself every now and then while working. Her colleagues notice but decide to leave her be. However, she is painfully aware that she cannot concentrate at work at all. They returned from camp yesterday, and her mind keeps drifting back to her first kiss with Akira. Thinking about it again, another smile and giggle escape her lips. She covers her face for a moment before forcing herself to resume work. Her colleagues quietly talk among themselves, noting that she has been like this the entire day. At the end of the day, Akira finally finishes his work and heads towards Shizuka so they can walk home together. He also suggests that they have dinner and stop by a bar. Shizuka seems tense, so Akira asks her what is wrong. She tells him that it's good that he does not seem affected by their kiss. He makes an uncomfortable sound, and Shizuka immediately panics, thinking she has somehow offended him. He gently guides her hand to his chest so she can feel his heartbeat, reminding her that he is just as nervous and excited as she is. He admits that he was also very excited back at camp when they sat together on the bench. He then asks her if she prefers men who are always uptight, and Shizuka shyly confesses that she prefers men who are a little bolder. After dinner, they head to a bar. Shizuka is curious about her cocktail glass, since it is the first time she has held one. Akira learns that Shizuka usually drinks at home and does not understand bars very well. He explains that bars are places where people go to enjoy a drink or spend time with someone special. She blushes and grows excited at his words, deciding that she needs to be bolder herself. With that in mind, she quickly finishes her cocktail and moves to sit right next to Akira. Once she settles beside him, she decides to be honest. She declares that she has no romantic experience and voices her fear that Akira might find her childish. Akira gently tries to reassure her that she is perfectly fine as she is, but Shizuka insists that she has more to confess. Shyly, she admits that their kiss was her first and asks for his forgiveness for being inexperienced. The way she says this only makes her more endearing to Akira, but he cannot help feeling a little concerned that she keeps apologizing for things. Deciding that Shizuka has had enough, he asks the bartender for some water. During the taxi ride home, Shizuka is already sober enough to begin regretting her words at the bar. She tries inviting him for tea when they reach her apartment, but he turns the offer down, making Shizuka worry that she really did disgust him. She feels completely down during their walk toward her door. When she bids Akira goodbye, Akira embraces her, acknowledging that he is aware of Shizuka's worries. He asks her if he is allowed to treasure her. The point does not seem to get across because Shizuka tells him that she feels treasured because he gave her a raise earlier. Since he feels like there is nothing to worry about, he decides to take his leave, but Shizuka feels like she has misunderstood something. One morning, it rains heavily in their town. Since he did not bring an umbrella, Akira arrives at the office completely drenched. He begins removing his shirt when Shizuka suddenly enters the office in an equally soaked state. Feeling self-conscious, he puts his shirt back on as he listens to Shizuka complain about how soaked she is. Feeling the chill in the air, he tells Shizuka that he will put the heater beside her and offers her a towel. Shizuka finds it odd that Akira has those items on hand and asks if he also got caught in the rain. Akira denies it and offers to find her a blanket while she settles by the heater. When he returns, Shizuka reaches for it but notices that Akira's hands are soaked. She feels his clothes and realizes that he has been lying about not being rained on, so she scolds him. Eventually, they end up huddled on the couch so they can share the blanket and the heater. Shizuka feels very shy about how closely they are pressed. She then feels Akira's hand take hers. Shyly, she admits that she is happy to share these small moments with him. Overcome with affection, Akira positions them so they can kiss, but Luna suddenly bursts into the office before their lips can even meet. One day, Shizuka recalls how much her mother, Yukari, wanted to meet Akira in person after the incident of their first meeting. This is what leads to today's scenario, with Yukari introducing herself to Akira. Both Akira and Yukari exchange pleasantries, with Akira even giving her a gift. Shizuka struggles to find something to talk about. She is a little concerned that this might end up leading to a discussion about marriage. She is so worried that she does not even catch Akira and Yukari's conversation, so she is confused as to why Yukari is suddenly thanking Akira. To answer Shizuka's question, Yukari reveals that Akira is promising her a 30% discount on his services since Shizuka is her daughter. Shizuka scolds Akira and asks Yukari why she would even need an investigation. Yukari calmly suggests that she wants to see if her husband is cheating. When Shizuka panics, she laughs it off as a joke. Lunch ends and Shizuka and Akira see Yukari off at the train station. They begin walking when Shizuka apologizes for her mother's words. Akira reassures her that everything went well and that Yukari did a good job keeping the conversation flowing. He even shares that while Shizuka was out, they had talked about something important. He does not tell her they had actually talked about her because Yukari was worried whether Shizuka was doing all right at work. He had told her that Shizuka is very capable at her job and that everyone relies on her. Yukari's expression changes to a fond one over the fact that Shizuka has managed to work and live on her own. She then asks Akira to take care of her. Noticing that he has gone silent, Shizuka questions him, but he doesn't tell her anything. On another day, Akira brings Shizuka to a rose garden. Shizuka is a little confused about their location, so Akira gives her a hint by placing a rose in front of her nose. Shizuka immediately guesses what it is, and Akira hands her the flower as a gift. He then reveals that he has brought her to a rose garden for their date. Shizuka feels the rose petals, blushing madly because she feels like she is in a romance novel. Soon they begin walking through the garden, and Shizuka cannot help but feel like she's being showered with roses due to the scents. Akira wonders why Shizuka did not leave her flower in the car, and she defends herself, saying she wants to keep it with her. She blushes a little, embarrassed that she might have come off as childish again. Akira simply chuckles, glad that Shizuka likes his gift. He then brings her to a cafe in the middle of the garden. He orders them a tea set and informs her that the food incorporates rose petals. He hands her a plate and tells her where all the food is placed so she knows which ones she wants to try. As Shizuka takes bites from her plate, Akira comments that all the food looks cute. Shizuka becomes curious about his description and asks what he means by adorable. He decides to describe it in more detail so it is easier for Shizuka to picture in her head. However, Shizuka is too happy with the flavors, so her focus is simply on trying everything, and Akira can't help but think her joy is adorable. On another day at the office, Shizuka arrives early as usual. She is shocked when she suddenly feels unfamiliar hands wrap around hers and hears a loud voice greet her. In response, she lets out a scream and hits Karma, causing Akira to rush toward them. When Karma compliments her hit, Shizuka finally recognizes his voice, and Akira immediately places himself between them, scolding Karma for not being patient. Karma reveals that Light left their apartment with several bags and only told him that she would be gone for a while. So, feeling lonely, he decided to bring them some tea and hang out at the agency. Akira scolds him because today is a work day for them. Karma starts complaining, claiming he really needs company to get by. Still, he instantly brightens when Light calls him. He answers the phone expecting good news, but his voice immediately turns panicked, especially once Light drops the call. He turns his teary eyes toward Akira and tells them that Light said she is with her parents. He wails, convinced this might mean divorce. Shizuka tries to reassure him while Akira suggests he go home and try to call Light again. Karma refuses and hugs the table, insisting that he is staying here or else he might rot in his own loneliness. Shizuka feels sorry for him and suggests that they humor him. Without even waiting for Akira's approval, Karma suddenly declares that he will be staying with Akira. The next morning, Akira wakes up to the sound of his alarm when Karma bursts in, telling him that breakfast is ready. He says he even prepared a bath for Akira and teasingly suggests that Akira can have him. When Akira remains silent, Karma admits he is joking before cheerily going off to do other chores in the house. When Akira sits down for his meal, he asks if Karma called Light. Karma pales but hides his nervousness by saying that he has not because he is scared to ask her. With that, he declares he is going to stay with Akira longer. They head to the office together, and when Shizuka greets them, she voices her concern since Akira seems down. Karma insists that Akira is actually happier because he is doing a great job attending to whatever Akira needs. Akira feels annoyed that Karma is always so suggestive but tells Shizuka that he feels better since he is with her now. Karma then gets their attention again and tells them he will help with detective work. Karma and Akira end up tailing an eagle-like beastman. Akira notes that this will be a difficult case since the bird folk can fly. But Karma surprises him by using his ability to make their target's wings unusable. Karma reveals that dark elves can dampen other abilities, but they need to be in a negative headspace for it to work. His abilities are especially effective today since there is a high chance of him facing divorce. Seeing that this is really eating at him, Akira decides to invite him to stay at his place again. However, Karma must call Light as part of the deal. They return to the office and Karma stalls when trying to call Light to the point that Akira even offers to dial the number for him. As they bicker, Shizuka can't help but think that they seem like good friends. In the middle of a little squabble, Akira manages to call Light and soon her voice can be heard. Karma then huddles to one side of the office to talk to her, making it hard for Akira to make out the conversation. When the call ends, Karma suddenly announces that he will be heading home. Akira and Shizuka settle down with some tea, and Akira feels a weight suddenly leave his shoulders. When Shizuka asks if Akira dislikes Karma, he denies it. He admits that their personalities simply clash and that he is also a little jealous of how open and expressive Karma is with his feelings. Shizuka suddenly tells him that he should be more expressive right now. He struggles to understand her invitation and decides to lean his head on her shoulder. Shizuka begins patting it, but Akira feels unsure because it is unfamiliar. When he pulls away, Shizuka starts feeling around his face, admitting that she does not usually get this chance, not even with her family. Akira decides to repeat the motion on her face, making her instantly go red. He comments on how interesting it is that people's color changes, and he begins pressing her cheeks and moving around her face. Feeling embarrassed, Shizuka tries to do the same, but her hands accidentally end up in his mouth. One day at the agency, the staff eagerly wait for Akira to finish dressing. Once he emerges in a middle school uniform, Luna declares that his disguise as a student is perfect, since no one can tell his age because he looks so young. Next, Daichi dresses up as a police officer. Kasuke gets excited and begins taking photos, which makes Akira believe that their disguises are suitable for their mission. Luna tries to avoid putting on her own outfit, causing Daichi to pull her back and tell her to try it on. He insists that she should since Akira and he both modeled for everyone. Shizuka wonders why Luna does not want anyone to see her outfit, and Akira explains that it is a type of uniform. During the mission, Luna has to work a maid cafe, wearing a maid uniform and feeling ridiculous. Daichi scolds her for her attitude, reminding her that she needs to act like a maid in order to keep up appearances. When a regular customer calls her over, she scowls at him. Daichi quickly reminds her to stay in character, so she holds back her irritation and does what she is told. Her eyes drift to the other beast folk in the cafe, and she cannot help but envy their unpatterned fur. To her, it makes them look cuter and softer compared to her own patterned fur. At the end of the day, Luna returns to the office and hugs Shizuka out of exhaustion. She complains that the cafe had so many cute girls that it made her feel like she did not fit in. Shizuka tells her that Akira complimented her work because she managed to blend in and get information from their target. Luna says she will always do her job, but she just does not feel cute. Shizuka replies that she cannot judge her cuteness because she is blind. Then she gently pets Luna and reassures her that she definitely feels cute and that she is happy she gets to feel her softness. The compliment makes Luna embarrassed and she complains that Shizuka never lets her stroke her skin to make it even. So she decides that the two of them should go shopping instead. During their shopping trip, Shizuka notices that Luna only makes her try on clothes. She insists that Luna pick out something for herself as well. Luna breezily says that she only wants Shizuka to try on clothes because she enjoys watching her. However, Shizuka declines, saying she is tired and encourages Luna to shop for herself instead. While Shizuka changes back into her regular clothes, Luna holds up the dress she picked out for Shizuka and notices how the patterns are part of its charm. However, she knows that if she were to wear it herself, it would clash with her aggressive-looking stripes. Flustered, Luna snaps at the saleslady, insisting that it wouldn't suit her. They decide to take a break for food, and Luna asks Shizuka if she has ever envied someone, giving an example such as envying people who can see. Shizuka thinks about it and says that sight is not something she feels jealous of because she does not know what it is like to have it. She turns the question around, and Luna admits that she is jealous of her. Luna then wails that because Shizuka's skin is one color, clothes look cute on her. Shizuka asks if Luna wants to look cute, and Luna confesses that she feels insecure about her stripes. People call her cute at the maid cafe, but she is not the type of cute she wants to be. She shyly admits that she has been thinking about dyeing her fur so the markings would be bleached. Shizuka tells her to do it if she wants, but Luna says it is not that simple because of her heritage. Luna explains that she comes from a family of bobcats from Africa, and the stripes are a sort of trademark. Although she was born and raised in the city, she feels that changing her fur might dishonor her family. Shizuka then remembers something Akira once told her since he has been describing things to her lately during their walks. She remembers one evening when Akira told her that the full moon was beautiful. When Shizuka asked what made it beautiful, he explained that there is something nice about how the round yellow light of the moon looks against the black evening sky. Shizuka asked if a yuzu fruit on a shi of nori would count as something beautiful, since she has been told that a yuzu fruit is yellow and nori is white and black. Although the image sounded strange, Akira agreed that there was something beautiful about it. He added that what makes it special is that the two of them were together that evening. Shizuka giggles to herself as she recalls that night, causing Luna to groan since she is constantly daydreaming about her relationship with Akira. Feeling embarrassed for daydreaming, Shizuka decides to keep the memory to herself for now. Turning her attention back to Luna, Shizuka shares her thoughts about Luna's insecurities. Since Luna is hesitant to bleach her fur, Shizuka believes that Luna may not be as bothered by her stripes as she lets on, since Luna is the type to do something once she sets her mind to it. The next day, Luna decides to try on the dress she found cute but feels disappointed when she sees it does not suit her at all. As she moves to return it, a patterned lizard salesman named Akko suggests the same dress in a different color. Luna is about to decline, but she notices that he is patterned as well and is wearing patterned clothes that look good on him. He suggests a lighter colored dress, explaining that it would complement her better and that adding a belt accessory could help balance the look. Deciding to give it a try, Luna puts it on and sees that she does look cute, and she finally feels happy with how she looks. At the office, Karma bursts in with tears, heading straight for Akira, who manages to hold him at arm's length. Karma cries that Light is back with her parents because her father, Twin, has fallen ill. He says he hopes to stay with Akira and help out because his curses might overflow if he stays in a negative mood without a way to vent them. If he remains at the tea shop, his curses could affect the business and scare customers away since they usually cause misfortunes here and there. Akira understands the situation but asks how long Light will be gone. Karma answers in defeat that it will be 5 months. The thought of being apart from Light for that long makes him sink into depression again. However, Luna and Shizuka feel that something else may be going on. Later that evening, Shizuka and Luna decide to video call Light. When Light finally joins the call, she admits that her father is not actually ill, and the truth is that she is pregnant. At first, the girls are happy, but are confused about why Light is not telling Karma about the pregnancy, so she explains that the two of them are different kinds of elves. Because the birth rate among elves is low, Light elves usually return to their forest village during pregnancy, where the entire community cares for the mother and blesses the unborn child each day. Shizuka feels as though Light is being pampered like a princess. Light confesses that she is worried about Karma and does not want him to blame himself if anything happens to her. Hearing how worried Light is about Karma, Shizuka decides not to tell her that he rushed into their office in tears. However, Luna ends up telling Light exactly what happened that day. One evening, Akira and Shizuka walk through the streets, thinking about what they want to eat. They both settle on tomato hot pot and head to Shizuka's apartment to prepare it. They divide the tasks. Shizuka cuts the vegetables while Akira washes them. Akira feels uneasy about Shizuka handling a knife, so he is surprised when she cuts everything evenly. When Shizuka suddenly turns to speak to him, he panics for a moment but quickly reminds himself that she does not need sight to cut vegetables. Akira admits that he feels happy because they are now comfortable around each other and he is learning more about her. Shizuka blushes and says she is learning a lot from him as well. She mentions that at first she thought she recognized Akira by his scent but later realized it was just the smell of his suits. Akira realizes that he sprays fabric refresher on them, which likely overpowers any natural scent. He then asks if she would like to confirm his scent again. Not understanding the implication behind his words, Shizuka happily agrees. But when he mentions undressing, she suddenly grows nervous and tells him not to. With the pot boiling in front of them, they begin eating and enjoy the meal. They finish the entire pot and Akira hands her a dessert. He feels proud of himself for buying cream puffs, but Shizuka explains that cream puffs are difficult for her. Akira assumes that she cannot eat them, but she clarifies that the problem is that the cream gets all over her hands since she cannot see where to hold them properly. One evening, Light checks her messages before calling Karma. She agrees to speak with him as long as it is voice only. Karma quickly answers, reminding her to stay warm since it is cold and telling her how excited he is to see her again after 5 months. Light feels uneasy and asks if he is angry. Then she quietly admits that she is pregnant. Karma grows confused and asks why she did not tell him. She explains that she has more support and resources at home, then asks if he remembers what they promised each other when they agreed to get married. On the day they were getting married, Karma was hesitant to go through with it, feeling that he did not deserve Light. However, Light insisted that their family's conflict had nothing to do with them. Karma argued that he was worried about how his curse might affect her, but Light remained stubborn and reassured him that her blessing could nullify his curse. Even so, Karma struggled with guilt, and Light can see that it continues to weigh on him. Back in the present, Light tells him that she is scared he might run away again now that she is carrying their child. She finally lets her tears fall as she releases all her pent-up feelings. Karma calmly tells her that he already knows she is pregnant and that he has no intention of running away because he promised to stay with her. Apparently, after she left, he anxiously called Twin. Twin angrily told Karma to stay away from his grandchild. At the mention of having a grandchild, Karma realized what was happening. Light cries because Karma never told her that he had already figured it out, but Karma explains that he assumed she wanted it to be a surprise. He waits for her to calm down and gently asks what else she's been keeping from him. She replies that it is a secret he will see in time, and the answer is that he will wait. During the day, Luna returns to the dress shop where she met Akko, but cannot find him. Instead, a sales lady assists her and suggests a dress that she claims will suit her patterns. However, when Luna tries it on, she does not like it despite the praise she receives. She asks about Akko, and the sales lady goes to get him. When he sees Luna pacing, Akko asks why she's looking for him. Luna struggles to admit it and ends up looking irritated, but she finally tells the truth and says she needs advice on how to dress herself. Akko smiles warmly and decides to help her find something that suits her. She follows his advice, and together they put together outfits that genuinely make her happy. Akko explains that it is important to consider the weight of a pattern and how it interacts with her own. He adds that styling Luna is easy because she has a great figure. Luna shyly insists that it is not true, which is exactly why she specifically sought him out for help. Akko then introduces himself properly and hands her his business card. He shares that he hopes to open his own shop one day to cater to patterned customers. Luna accepts the card, promises to support him, and finally introduces herself in return. One day, Akira brings Shizuka to a flower shop. He tells her to pick any flower she likes, and she nervously asks if the shop has roses. The female shopkeeper selects 3 orange roses for Shizuka and calls her husband to wrap them. When her husband comes to the front, both Akira and Shizuka are surprised by how large he is. The shopkeeper explains that she is human while her husband is an Oni. At the mention of an interspecies couple and marriage, Shizuka finds herself thinking about her own relationship with Akira. The husband then hands them the bouquet, now including baby's breath blossoms. Akira receives it, surprised at how delicately it is wrapped despite the man's huge hands. They head to the office to place the flowers in a vase and display them. Akira suggests placing them on the center table, which makes Shizuka happy because she feels the flowers create a calmer atmosphere in the office. Akira asks if she has always loved roses, and Shizuka admits that she only recently began favoring them after Akira gave her one. Akira feels his heart leap at her words and quickly steadies himself by guiding her to set the roses. One fall morning, as Shizuka walks through the park, she loses her balance and falls, prompting Yu, a human Oni mix, to apologize and rush over to help her up. Yu is confused when Shizuka does not react to him being an Oni until she explains that she is blind. He gently instructs her to hold out her hand, then grasps it to help her stand, admitting that he is still learning to control his strength. He explains that he kicked a tree out of frustration. Earlier, he was playing with his friends but accidentally hurt one of them because he could not control the force of his touch during a game of tag. Shizuka listens to him and gently advises him to make up with his friends, offering him some helpful suggestions. A few moments later, he returns to his friends. They are all worried about him but are unsure how they can continue playing together. Yu pulls out a cattail and suggests using it to tag one another so he will not hurt anyone. He demonstrates by lightly tapping one of them with the plant. The girl he accidentally hurt earlier agrees that it is a good solution so they can all keep playing. The others suggest using cattails as well since it seems safer for the beast folk and also more fun. Shizuka smiles as she overhears them and continues on her walk. On another occasion, Akira reviews details of a case when Karma curiously checks on him. He notices that the image Akira is studying is of the bird folk he cursed the last time he helped with a case. It turns out that the same bird folk is now a suspect in the current investigation. Karma tries to earn praise for his previous help, but Akira bluntly points out that the bird folk had done nothing wrong that day. Suddenly, Yu arrives at the office looking for Shizuka, who greets him warmly. Karma grows curious about his visit, and Akira explains that Yu is there for his school project. Shizuka brings Yu into Akira's office and introduces them properly. Yu notices the photos on Akira's desk and mentions that he has seen the bird folk before. Akira asks how he knows him, and Yu explains that while he and his friends were playing, the bird folk scolded them and demanded they clear the area. He tells Akira exactly where they had been playing. Akira quickly gathers the rest of the agency for a meeting while Shizuka keeps Yu entertained. However, Yu's eyes and ears occasionally drift toward Akira's discussion nearby. When Akira announces that he is heading out, Yu asks Shizuka if he will be going to the same area where they used to play. Shizuka grows nervous and admits that she is not sure. Yu decides to pack his things and leave, even though Shizuka insists he wait for Luna. But Yu has already rushed out the door. He catches up to Akira, keeping his distance so he will not be noticed. The thought of secretly following a detective on a mission fills him with excitement. Yu decides to take a picture, but when he pulls out his camera, Akira is nowhere in sight. Panicked, Yu rushes forward to search for him, unaware that he has just passed Akira, who has turned completely invisible. Akira is troubled after recognizing Yu since the operation becomes far riskier than planned, so Akira changes routes to keep him out of danger. Moments later, Akira arrives at the area Yu described. He turns fully invisible and quietly observes the suspects nearby. Suddenly, he hears a commotion. He spots Yu being dragged by one of the men from the suspicious group. Yu struggles against their grip, and a bird folk recognizes him as the kid who had been hanging around the area the other day. They begin to suspect he is a spy. One of the men comments in surprise about how strong he is. Hearing that, Yu immediately stops struggling, afraid that he might accidentally hurt them. They guide him into a storeroom and shut him inside while they continue packing the goods they intend to sell. Alone in the dark, Yu's thoughts spiral as he thinks of the possibility of being sold or even thrown into the ocean. The terrifying possibilities make him cry, which only irritates the men outside. Then he suddenly hears Akira's voice. Yu nearly screams when a gloved hand appears out of nowhere. Akira quickly covers his mouth before he can make a sound, then removes his hand and whispers for him to stay quiet and wait for backup. Yu's eyes sparkle with admiration as he feels inspired to become a detective one day. When the men close the storeroom door completely, Akira safely reveals himself so he can untie Yu without startling him. Outside, the men decide it is better to abandon the shop and transfer their goods elsewhere. They switch off the lights, plunging the storeroom into darkness. For a brief second, Akira panics at the sudden loss of visibility. But when he hears Yu being anxious beside him, he forces himself to stay composed. He takes out his phone and turns on the flashlight. In the dim glow, Yu asks why Akira decided to become a detective. Akira admits that once during an incident long ago, he had desperately wanted someone to find him, but no one did, so he chose to grow into someone who can find those who want to be found. When Yu calls him a hero, Akira is taken aback. Just then, his phone rings. He answers, and it turns out to be Shizuka. He quietly tells her that he is inside the storeroom with Yu. He then asks if she can keep talking to him on the line. Shizuka is puzzled by Akira's request, but decides to tell him a fairy tale, complaining that it is the only thing she can think of on the spot. Deciding it is better than silence, Akira encourages her to continue. However, Shizuka does not seem to remember the original story very well. She ends up mixing different fairy tales together, giving outrageous descriptions from completely separate stories. In Akira's mind, the central characters, an elderly couple, sound strangely athletic for their age. Eventually, Daichi interrupts her rambling. Shizuka quickly informs Akira that Karma and Lumina have already arrived at the scene. Outside, Karma keeps himself hidden as he quietly casts curses. An ogre among the group suddenly topples over and causes the boxes he was carrying to fall. While the men are distracted, Luna manages to place a tracker on their van. She watches as it drives off and asks Daichi if she is free to handle the remaining men herself. Daichi gives her permission with the condition that she stays in control. Leaping from her position on the rooftop, Luna lands and knocks one man out instantly. She warns the others, giving them a chance to surrender. Instead, to charge at her, but Luna swiftly overpowers them. One man falls to his knees and begs for mercy. When Luna lowers her guard, he suddenly pulls out a weapon and begins firing at her. Though startled, Luna quickly regains her composure and subdues him as well. She begins tying them up, but the bird folk regains consciousness and attempts to flee. The bird folk remains confident, believing he can simply fly away. But the moment he launches himself into the air, he is surprised when Luna leaps up after him and grabs him midair. She lets out a manic laugh as she beats him down. All of this is heard through Daichi's earpiece. He sighs heavily, remembering that he had warned her to stay in control. Once everything is settled, Karma heads to the storeroom to free Akira and Yu. He takes the opportunity to tease Yu, who boldly fires back at him. Neither of them senses a thug nearby preparing to strike until Akira swiftly knocks the man out. Yu and Karma both stare at him in awe. Akira calmly gives them instructions, bringing them back to their senses. From the phone, Shizuka's worried voice calls out. Akira reassures her and explains what just happened. He thanks her softly, admitting that hearing her voice helped him stay calm. Later that afternoon, Akira finds himself dreaming about the past. He is once again wandering through a dark forest, unable to find his way out. Just as the darkness begins to feel suffocating, the clouds part and the moon reveals itself, casting a gentle light to guide him. When he wakes, the first thing he sees is Shizuka. He realizes that his head is resting on her lap. Slowly sitting up, he asks why he had been lying there, and Shizuka explains that after everyone else returned home, they decided to stay behind. She admits that she had eagerly convinced him to let her be his lap pillow for a while, since it was something she had always wanted to try. The moment his head touched her lap, he drifted off to sleep. Overcome with affection, Akira suddenly leans in and presses a gentle kiss to her lips. Before she can even process it, he deepens the kiss, pouring all the warmth and gratitude he feels. When he finally pulls away, Shizuka's face turns bright red as she realizes how mature that kiss was. Akira wraps his arms around her and pulls her into a tight embrace, confessing that he wants her by his side forever. Slowly, she clutches him back and admits that she feels the same way. Their tender moment is abruptly interrupted when Yu and his parents suddenly burst into the office. Akira and Shizuka immediately spring apart, and Akira hurriedly straightens his clothes as he moves to greet them. The flower shopkeeper instantly senses that they walked in on something intimate, so she quickly covers Yu's eyes and reminds him to apologize. Her husband adds that they have brought a small gift for them, that they will leave it outside and then make a swift exit. With the mood thoroughly disrupted, they decide to head home. One evening, Akira and Shizuka visit the bar they frequent. Shizuka cannot help giggling softly to herself since they have become regulars at the bar. She recalls the first time she had drunk too quickly and ended up overwhelmed by her own emotions. Akira admits that he found her adorable that day, though he also confesses that he had been worried. He explains that in the beginning he often wondered whether Shizuka was forcing herself to agree with him because he was older and her boss. However, after getting to know her more, he has come to understand that his fear was unfounded. In fact, these days he often feels that he is the more childish one in the relationship. Shizuka gently reminds him that relationships are about relying on one another. Taking her hand in his, Akira suggests that starting tonight, they should continue dating with the intention of marriage in mind. The sudden seriousness of his words catches her off guard, but she nods nervously and agrees, placing her other hand over theirs as if to steady herself. Akira chuckles fondly and reassures her that there is no rush, reminding her that they are not getting married immediately. Once she relaxes, she shyly admits that she wants his hand to always be the one guiding her forward. When he casually mentions the possibility of living together someday, her excitement resurfaces. One morning, when Shizuka arrives at work, she does not notice Akira on the couch. Without thinking much of it, she casually sits down, only to realize a second later that she has actually sat on his lap. After jumping back and forcing herself to calm down, she leans in slightly and catches his scent, confirming that it is Akira. He appears to be asleep, which makes sense considering he had been working on an investigation all evening. The realization makes her panic all over again. In the middle of her flustered spiral, she hears him make a small sound. She notices he doesn't make any more sounds after that, so she assumes he has drifted back to sleep. To be safe, she quietly moves to the other end of the couch. As she settles down, her thoughts wander to their last intense kiss, and she blurts out that she wants to kiss him again. She immediately gets embarrassed by how greedy she sounds. After a moment, she convinces herself that no one else is around, and since he is asleep, she technically can just steal one kiss. Though she hesitates briefly, she eventually pushes her doubts aside. Carefully, she reaches out and touches his face, trying to figure out where his lips are. Once she thinks she has located them, she slowly leans closer, only for Akira to suddenly ask what she is planning to do. Embarrassed at being caught, she refuses to answer. Akira, amused, decides to tease her by casually mentioning that the others are already in the office. She panics instantly, but he quickly reassures her that he was only joking. Shizuka wonders if he has been awake the entire time, but Akira merely teases her that he won't say anything. Nearly a day passes and Shizuka informs him that she has finished copying the last of the documents. Akira thanks her and explains that he still needs to stay a little longer to complete several reports. Shizuka begins bouncing lightly in place, and Akira assumes she is eager to go home. He tells her she is free to leave since her work is done and thanks her again. Although she feels a flicker of disappointment, she does her best not to show it. As she packs her things, the feeling deepens. Since last week, Akira has not brought up living together again, nor has he walked her home. When he first suggested it, she had been searching for apartments online every day, hoping they would talk about it soon. Noticing her odd behavior, Akira asks if something is wrong. Shizuka quickly masks her thoughts and asks if they can walk home together today. He checks his watch and says they can, though they will have to wait since he still has work to finish. She agrees without hesitation, and he casually suggests that since it will be late, she could consider staying over at his place. Shizuka blushes brightly at the suggestion while Akira returns to his paperwork. By the time he finishes, it is already late. He calls her name once, but she does not respond because she has been lost in thought. When he calls her again, she startles awake and jumps to her feet, only to bump into the table in the process. She trembles in pain, which immediately worries Akira. He suggests that he can just take her home, but Shizuka firmly refuses, insisting that she wants to try staying over. On the way, they stop at a convenience store where Akira buys dinner and picks up a few necessities she might need. Shizuka smiles to herself at how domestic everything feels, but her face heats up when he asks what size bottoms she wears. At the checkout counter, she admires how composed and mature he seems. Yet the thought suddenly crosses her mind that he is so comfortable with all of this that he must have had prior experience before her. When they arrive at his apartment door, her thoughts begin racing again. Sensing her nervousness, Akira gently asks if she's all right. He apologizes, admitting that he might be moving too quickly. Since they are considering living together, he thought it would be good to see what spending one night together would feel like. Only then does it sink in for Shizuka that living together means spending every night together. Despite browsing apartments for weeks, she had not fully grasped that reality. Her face turns bright red and she hides it in her hands out of embarrassment. Misinterpreting her reaction, Akira quickly says that they can always choose another day if she is not ready. Instead, she surprises him by grabbing the front of his shirt and telling him that she wants to stay the night. Akira gently tells her that she can stay and then suggests they head inside so they can start dinner. After dinner, while Akira washes the cups they use, he offers to show Shizuka more of his apartment since there were areas he did not show her the last time she visited. He guides her to a door near the entrance, which turns out to be his bedroom. Shizuka feels nervous stepping into his private space, but Akira gently leads her around the bed and lets her feel the lamp and side table beside it. He tells her that she can use the bed for the night while he sleeps on the couch, then offers to show her the bathroom so she can bathe first. Shizuka follows his suggestion, but even as she bathes, it still feels unreal to her that she is doing so inside Akira's home. She dips her head into the water, trying to sort through her mixed emotions. When she lifts her head again, she worries that if she already feels this overwhelmed, she does not know how the rest of the night will go. By the time she finishes, Akira is resting on the couch and invites her to sit beside him. As she makes her way over, he notices that she has not dried her hair, explaining that humans usually do after bathing. Shizuka is surprised to learn that invisible people do not need to because their hair and skin have different properties. He even mentions that using a hairdryer would damage his own hair. Still, knowing she needs one, he gets up to retrieve it. Shizuka grows troubled that he owns a hairdryer despite not needing it. Remembering how comfortable he seemed buying female items earlier, she begins to wonder if he had a girlfriend before her. When Akira returns, he has her sit on the floor so he can properly dry her hair. Though she knows she should feel happy, the anxiety does not leave her. She wonders if he treated his previous girlfriend the same way and whether he had spoken about marriage with her too. As her thoughts spiral, she shakes her head slightly, and Akira asks if he accidentally tickled her. Shyly, she asks if they can share a kiss, but Akira gently refuses, admitting that he worries he might not be able to stop himself if they start. Shizuka blushes at what he implies, and even after he tucks her into bed and wishes her good night, her face remains red. The next morning, Daichi approaches Shizuka and asks about Karma, mentioning that he has not seen him around lately. Shizuka explains that Karma has returned to his tea shop after using a lot of his cursed energy from their last major investigation. He deemed it safe to reopen and even mentioned that he felt inspired by the way Akira works. Daichi accepts the explanation and prepares for work, but Shizuka suddenly asks why he decided to live with Kasuke. He was hoping the question was work-related and considered avoiding it, but seeing her expectant expression, he reluctantly answers. Slightly embarrassed, he says they decided it was simply the most efficient choice and reminds her that he prefers to keep his personal life private as a detective. Shizuka suspects he is just embarrassed. Since she wants advice for her own relationship, she mentions that she might ask Kasuke instead, but Daichi quickly tells her not to, knowing Kasuke would reveal too much. Based on her questions, Daichi already guesses that she and Akira are thinking about living together. He warns her not to compare their situation to his and Kasuke's, adding that he senses she is worried about more than just cohabiting. Shizuka begins gushing about how amazing Akira is and admits she worries that she depends on him too much. Daichi bluntly tells her that if that is the case, she should simply tell Akira to stop. When she looks confused, he explains that balance is important in a relationship and she should not feel as though she relies on him for everything. One late afternoon, Akira stops by a sweet potato stand to buy a roasted sweet potato for himself and Shizuka. He then visits her apartment and reveals the bag with a small smile. Excited, Shizuka joins him at the dining table so he can split one in half, but one side ends up slightly bigger than the other. As she feels its size, she senses something is off and asks to compare it with his portion. When she realizes his half is smaller, she feels a sudden flare of anger, suspecting that he once again took advantage of her blindness. She calls him an SD and marches to the kitchen to cut the sweet potato evenly herself. The next day, Akira asks Daichi what SD means, but Daichi bluntly replies that he has no idea. Later, at Akira's house, Shizuka apologizes for acting rashly, but Akira tells her that she thinks too highly of him. He explains that he spoke to Daichi earlier and learned the meaning. Apparently, after Daichi told him to search for it online, Akira admitted that he had actually wanted to talk about something else. Since Daichi seemed unwilling to engage, he prepared to return to work. With a sigh, Daichi decided to humor him and claim that SD means super darling, a term used to describe the perfect partner. Akira is taken aback when Daichi adds that the term is often used for wealthy heirs, CEOs, and oil barons. In the present, Akira admits that he does not like being described that way and tries to dismiss the idea. He asks Shizuka not to assume things about him simply because he is invisible. After a pause, he carefully asks whether she feels he is being too accommodating toward her. Shizuka attempts to reassure him, saying she has no right to complain since he takes care of her. But Akira insists that honesty is important between them. She grows touched that he is still thinking about her feelings, especially when he clarifies that he is not trying to take advantage of her. Because of his position in life, he simply wants her trust. Hearing the strain in his voice, Shizuka asks if he believes she does not trust him. Akira struggles to answer and takes a deep breath, explaining that he only wants to be considerate of her feelings, though this answer frustrates her further. Instead, he begins telling her about invisible people. He explains that many of them become spies because of their abilities, which is why there are very few public records about their kind. While others see their invisibility as an asset, for them, it is also a curse, as it makes it difficult to build trust with other races. Even as a child, he was taught how to behave in ways that would make others see him as trustworthy. Shizuka finds this hard to understand since to her the only difference is that he cannot be seen. Akira laughs softly, relieved, realizing that she can see it that way because she herself does not value sight in the same way others do. When she asks whether being invisible makes life difficult for his race, he answers indirectly by telling her about an invisible model who recently gained attention. The model uses invisibility creatively in his career, drawing public interest and raising awareness about their kind. Akira reveals that he met the model as a child and was inspired by him to express himself more through clothing. To him, the model felt like an older brother. He promises to be less accommodating, starting by boldly eating a donut in front of her without worrying about appearances. That evening, Shizuka sleeps in his bed, feeling happy that he is slowly becoming more open with her, though she blushes slightly because she had secretly hoped they might grow closer physically that night. Meanwhile, in the bathroom, Akira feels a quiet guilt for not telling her everything. He knows that someday he will have to, even if he would rather avoid it. For now, he pushes the thought aside and steps into the shower. Akira and Shizuka stop by a hot spring to enjoy a foot bath. They are currently on a day trip together. Akira shares that he usually doesn't go to hot springs because public baths are difficult, since there's always the risk of someone accidentally sitting on him. Seeing that he is a little down about not being able to enjoy hot springs, Shizuka admits that she can't fully enjoy them either. Because of her condition, she always needs someone to assist her, and she hates feeling like a burden. Both of them find comfort in discovering yet another thing they have in common. Leaning against each other, they quietly enjoy the moment, feeling as if a part of them has finally been healed. Later, as they begin walking home, they overhear people arguing nearby. Someone appears to be desperately begging a customer to stay the night at their inn. However, the customer refuses, claiming that the inn is haunted. Akira and Shizuka observe the commotion, and Shizuka recalls that their agency is sometimes called to investigate paranormal activity. The crabfolk hostess overhears their conversation and quickly shuffles over to them, asking if they investigate paranormal cases. She explains that she has been having problems lately due to reviews claiming the place is haunted. Akira tries to explain that today is actually his day off, but the crabfolk doesn't seem to hear him and continues pleading for his help. She promises to pay their fee and even offers them a free night's stay. Remaining calm, Akira hands her his business card and politely tells her that he isn't working today, but she is welcome to visit their agency another time. The crabfolk suddenly begins wailing, worried that her inn will continue to suffer from bad reviews until he becomes available. Trying again, she sweetens the deal and offers them the inn's best room, complete with a private open-air bath. Akira is tempted, realizing this would allow him to finally enjoy a hot spring. Still, he tries to turn the offer down politely. However, Shizuka is also intrigued by the idea of bathing in a private onsen. She casually tells Akira that rearranging his schedule would be easy. When they enter the inn, they are greeted by one of the servers who escorts them to their room. Akira is pleased with the accommodations but notices that the bath can be seen from the room. He considers mentioning it to Shizuka, but decides he can simply close the curtains later to respect her privacy. Suddenly, Shizuka announces that she wants to try the onsen. Akira lets her go ahead while he decides to speak with the crowdfolk. They talk in the lounge where Akira notices that they appear to be the only guests staying at the inn. Looking through the reviews, he finds several guests claiming they saw blood on the floors. The crabfolk explains that one guest did report something like that once, but when the staff checked, the floor was completely spotless. Akira finds another review describing strange dragging sounds in the evening. The crowdfolk admits that dragging sounds can sometimes be heard, but they usually happen during the day when guests are moving luggage. Akira wonders if the blood and the dragging sounds could be related. He then shows the crabfolk another claim mentioning a torso ghost that supposedly appears in the evening. The crabfolk insists that she has never witnessed anything strange. Akira easily believes her. The crabfolk begins crying over the loss of business caused by these baseless rumors, so Akira promises to conduct a proper investigation. He begins by checking the floor where guests claim to have seen bloodstains. However, the floor is perfectly clean and there is no evidence that blood had ever been there. After thinking it over, he sighs. He realizes he doesn't have any of his usual tools to investigate properly. He also feels a bit guilty for taking the case because of the free room and bath. Deciding he should return another time with the proper equipment, he heads back to the room. When he enters, he is pleasantly surprised to see Shizuka wearing a yukata. When Shizuka encourages him to try the bath, Akira initially refuses, claiming that he still needs to focus on the investigation. Shizuka doesn't argue, but the disappointment in her voice is very evident. Because of that, Akira soon finds himself taking a bath. He tries to relax for once, reasoning that he should allow himself this short break and continue the investigation later in the evening. While washing his back, the curtains suddenly open and Shizuka presses herself against the glass door. Because of her blindness, she doesn't realize Akira is currently bathing. Instead, she huffs and complains that he kept the curtains closed, believing the door to be a window that overlooks the view outside. After Akira finishes his bath, Shizuka confronts him about the curtains. Realizing he can't avoid the topic any longer, Akira finally tells her the truth, which leaves Shizuka extremely embarrassed. However, Akira reassures her that she shouldn't feel that way since no one can technically see him. Still, Shizuka feels uncomfortable about the situation because she knows Akira does feel a bit of embarrassment. An awkward silence settles between them, so Akira suggests they enjoy their meal first. Suddenly, they hear strange grinding sounds nearby. Akira suggests that Shizuka stay in the room while he goes to investigate, but she becomes too frightened and begs him not to leave her. Akira holds her close and decides to take her along with him instead. When they step into the hallway, they notice a strange liquid on the floor. When Akira examines it more closely, he notices that the substance is black in color. When he touches it with a gloved finger, he also realizes that it's not blood. At that moment, Shizuka smells something strange. At the same time, Akira notices a mysterious figure walking past the window. From his perspective, it looks as though the figure only has a torso. Shizuka panics when she hears his description, but quickly calms herself. She insists she can handle even the scarier descriptions. As the driving sound grows closer, Akira instinctively places a protective hand in front of Shizuka. However, once he recognizes the figure approaching them, he calmly tells Shizuka that the case has already been solved. A little later, Akira gathers with the crab folk and explains that the ocean view ultimately helped him uncover the truth behind the supposed paranormal activity. He then proceeds to explain the mystery behind the strange occurrences. Akira reveals that the people responsible for the strange sightings are actually the inn's employees. However, he explains that they were simply performing their normal duties, which is why the crab folk never considered their actions unusual. First, he explains the strange driving sounds. Apparently, one of the attendants had been spending many late nights working at the inn, but on that particular day, she was allowed to leave earlier than usual. While heading home, she realized that she had forgotten her kimono cord and hurried back through the hallway to retrieve it. Because of the way she rushed, she created several strange noises. She happened to bump into Akira and Shizuka inspecting the mysterious liquid in the hallway. The attendant admits that she has been making a lot of noise in the evenings recently because she often rushes through her work. Next, Akira explains that the supposed bloodstains on the floor were actually squid ink. While he and the attendant were speaking, a squid folk employee arrived to clean the ink. Apparently, the squid folk had been sneezing, causing ink to occasionally spittle onto the floor. Shizuka then chimes in, saying that she had recognized the smell. The crab folk scolds the squid folk for not bringing a handkerchief, but he insists that he does carry one. Unfortunately, he often can't pull it out quickly enough when he sneezes. Akira mentions the strange figure he saw earlier. After hearing his description, the staff realizes who he is referring to. The figure soon approaches them to greet the group. It turns out to be another employee, a merfolk with a black tail. Because of the darkness, the tail blends into the shadows, making it appear as if the person only has a torso. Akira explains that all three employees are part of the night shift and simply didn't realize that their normal activities were unintentionally frightening the guests. He realized the truth after noticing how close the inn is to the ocean. Sea-dwelling people prefer working near the sea, and since these workers are used to their own habits and physical traits, nothing about their behavior seems strange to them. However, most land dwellers aren't familiar with those habits or how their bodies function, which led many guests to misinterpret the situation. The staff admits that their actions are normal for them, so they never imagined they were disturbing the guests. As if on cue, the squid folk suddenly sneezes again. Akira then tells the crab folk that they can discuss solutions the next day so the inn can properly address the bad reviews. With everything settled, Akira and Shizuka return to their room. Once inside, Shizuka flops onto her bed while Akira admits that he plans to sleep right away. Shizuka feels a little disappointed and sits up to remove her cloak as she praises Akira for solving the case. She then asks if it would be okay for them to kiss, not realizing the effect her request has on him. Instead of giving in, Akira slips under the blanket and tells her that they should go to sleep since they have an early morning ahead. They wish each other good night and settle into their beds. However, something begins to bother Shizuka. Quietly, she tells Akira that she feels like he has been holding back lately. Just as quickly, she dismisses the thought, saying it must be her imagination because it has been such a long day. She turns away from him to sleep, but her mind keeps wandering. She starts to think that Akira is probably someone who isn't into physical affection. Then she wonders if she isn't physically attractive. She doesn't fully understand the concept the way sighted people care about it, but she has heard that appearance can matter. To her, Akira's hesitation begins to feel like confirmation that she might be unattractive. Shizuka quietly begins to cry and apologizes for being ugly, which causes Akira to sit up abruptly. Alarmed, he asks where such an idea came from. Through her tears, she says that he hasn't been affectionate with her. Akira quickly moves in front of her and gently holds her shoulders, deciding that they need to talk things through. He explains that the reason he has been holding back is because discussing it would require him to talk about his ex-girlfriend. He shares that before opening his own agency, he worked for a large detective company. During that time, he was in a relationship with a female beast folk. She tried hard to understand what life was like for him as an invisible person, and he, in turn, did his best to understand her. Their relationship eventually grew intimate, but in the end, his ex-girlfriend broke under the strain. She found that she couldn't handle being touched by someone she couldn't see. They tried to work through the issue, but Akira realized that she was only enduring it so she wouldn't hurt him. Seeing her struggle like that made him feel terrible, and eventually the two of them decided to end the relationship. After he finishes explaining, Shizuka suddenly leans closer to him, reaching out as if searching for something. She's trying to find his mouth, but instead ends up kissing his cheek. She shifts slightly and brushes against his nose, then finally finds his upper lip. Growing a little playful, she kisses his eyelids as well, slowly mapping out the shape of his face. Before long, she ends up sitting in his lap, and the two share a deeper kiss. After a moment, Akira gently suggests that they simply sleep together for the night. Shizuka readily agrees, and Akira helps adjust her yukata before they settle under the covers. As they lie together, Shizuka quietly admits how much she loves his scent. Akira notes that this is the first time she has said she loves him. Realizing this herself, she panics. She begins hurriedly confessing her love for him, and in response, Akira holds her close and tells her that he loves her dearly too. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to see what happens next.